Good morning and welcome to another episode of Drew's Book Reviews. Today we're going to be talking about The 100, Homecoming by Kass. So this will be the third book in the 100 book series, a post-apocalyptic world in which mankind is evacuated to the stars and has spent the past 300 years living in an orbital spaceship, just trying to survive while waiting for the Earth to recover from a nuclear winter and to survive the irradiated planet below. So, of course, in the first couple of books, we have the 100 group of youth criminals sent to Earth in order to test to see if Earth was ready for human habitation once again. So, picking up where we left off, the 100 are no longer alone on Earth, and of course they have this conflict with the Earthborn. But added to that now is those left on the colony ship are now having to evacuate to Earth, but there isn't enough room for everybody. The colony ship is dying, essentially. It's running out of resources. And so 400 come down from the colony ship on the last 4 drop ships available to mankind and evacuate to Earth in a very violent very violent panic, mob mentality, just storm the drop ships to evacuate the dying space station. And so they fall to Earth. Now the opening sequence in which this is happening and the descriptions of the violence and the landing and the bodies burning up as the glass and the windows in the dropship shatter on atmospheric re-entry and the whole chaos surrounding it, I just thought it was really exciting, really great way to open up this book. Just bam, right into the action. It was just, wow, in your face. It was great. I had a lot of fun reading it. I really liked that part of it. Definitely something I was enjoying about that. And just overall, that was a really exciting part of the book. But unfortunately, one of the vice chancellors survived by the name of Rhodes. And he basically survives the absolutely violent crash landing to Earth. And he immediately steps in and takes over control of the colony of the survivors of the original 100's camp, and he takes control and he wants to be in charge of everything. He doesn't like the idea of leaving it to what he views as these juvenile delinquents. He thinks he knows better, and he kind of goes on this power trip and becomes this tyrannical dictator over the camp and just completely destroys everything that the 100 had built, their entire community that they had built together. And so we have this power struggle and dynamic that has built up between Bellamy and Octavia and Wells and Clark and their community that they had built, and power tripping Rhodes, who wants to hold on to the power himself. So this really corrupt leader who takes control of everything. So that power struggle between the two sides definitely made for interesting. So it's bad enough that they've got this group of Earthborns who don't want them there, who want them to go home and want them to leave. And then they have this internal struggle within the camp itself, making for this really powerful dynamic between the two sides. And of course, Wells, who had basically become the de facto leader of the camp, basically had to relinquish control of the community that had been built, to Vice Chancellor Rhodes, who just makes matters worse for everybody. So all around, it's just really interesting, well-built power dynamic with this. Now, one thing I am noticing with these book series is the Earthborn, or the Grounders as they're called in the TV series, they're not nearly so numerous. They're not as big of a threat. They're not as strong or powerful as they are in the TV show. And really, the conflict within this book series, unlike the TV show, is not the 100 versus the Grounders. It's more of the 100 versus the colony. The first 100 that were sent down versus the people wanting to maintain their power and control over humanity, the survivors of the colony. And that's really where the struggle dynamic and the rebuilding of society, that seems to be the main focus, the main idea behind this book series. That is where it comes in. That is what this book series is all about. And the grounders are there, or the earthborns they're referred to in this book series. They're definitely part of that dynamic. They're definitely kind of represent that external struggle. I think kind of set up well, actually. I mean, for the external versus internal struggle. The idea of the colony people that have come down from this colony ship, and that group trying to sort itself out, or kind of that internal struggle within that dynamic, versus the pressures from the outside, versus the Earthborns putting that pressure on and trying to make everything work for the good, and really kind of starting scratch, that Adam and Eve, so to speak, rebuilding society and repopulating the earth eventually, and just kind of rebuilding society from scratch. So it's really kind of fun to read that dynamic. I think Kass Morgan has done a really awesome job within this book series of setting up that premise, and really enjoying it all around. And just a great book, great read. I definitely recommend it to anybody who especially likes that post-apocalyptic type world, and definitely it is a fun, entertaining read. It's fast-paced, a lot of action, and just a good read all around. Really enjoying it. Definitely do recommend it to anyone that likes that kind of book, and just check it out. I'm loving it, really enjoying it, and I know that you will too, like I said, especially if you like that kind of content. And I certainly hope that you've enjoyed this review of mine on the 100 Homecoming as well. And then don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and of course check out the playlist, Kass Morgan playlist on this channel, that includes links to the other videos in this book review series, and all other Kass Morgan books that I might read in the future will be added to that as I do, of course. And as always, don't forget to stay tuned. Next up, we're going to be reading the 100 Rebellion. This will be the 4th book in the 100 series. So stay tuned, check that out. Thanks again for watching. Really appreciate it. We'll see you next time on the next episode of Drew's Book Reviews. Bye.